Welcome to the Voice of East Turkistan podcast program of Center for East Turkistan National Interest. I am Nadira and one of the hosts of this program. According to Chinese official media, the Shin Jang Committee of China's ruling Communist Party recently made a statement at the end of its annual plenary session and said that it will better support the modernization of the military, improve mechanisms to fight foreign interference in Xinjiang, and build the region into a strategic barrier to maintain national geopolitical security for China. What does that mean? And what could be the danger implication of this statement? Today, we will discuss with Mrs. Ruqya Turdush about this statement. She is a researcher and a regular contributor of Center for East Turkistan National Interest. She is the author of East Turkistan's Right to Sovereignty, Decolonization, and Beyond. Her research interests include China's genocide in East Turkestan and Chinese colonialism. Hello, Mrs. Ruqya Turdush. Welcome to the discussion today.
Thank you. Very pleasure to be here.
Okay, so my first question will be, could you just explain what does authorities in Xinjiang mean with turning the region into a strategic barrier against geopolitical risks?
Geographic location of East Turkestan is very important for China's expand to the world through the land because it's important gateway that can connect China to Central Asia and Europe, through Central Asia, the Middle East, South Asia, and Africa. In fact, there's no political threat from these neighboring countries that China connect itself through East Turkestan. So I think instead of saying barrier against the geopolitical risks from neighboring countries, saying strategic advantage is more appropriate for the Chinese government, actually, since China getting advantage of its total colonial control of East Turkestan and trying to expand the world through this gateway. But I would like to add that it's true in the history, China used various strategic barriers to protect its Chinese heartland from the attack of Hun Empire and Turkic empires. For example, Great Wall is one of the examples. So during the Han and the Tang dynasty, they also tried and managed to invade some portions of East Turkestan and established military garrisons to protect the mainland China. And Manchu Empire also did the same thing. However, I think today's China no need to turn East Turkestan to strategic barrier because they have already totally controlled East Turkestan since they have invaded in 1949. From the political, economic, social, and the cultural aspects to every lives of every Uyghur individual and the children even, all suffer under Chinese control and ongoing genocide. We believe approximately half of the population of Uyghurs are destroyed by Chinese colonizers through re-education camps, forced labor camps, indirect marriage, marriage with Han Chinese settlers, sterilization, and removal of children. So how they want to build, what kind of strategic barrier they want to build against the neighboring countries, because they already totally control these places.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Ruqya Turdush. Your explanation sheds light on an important aspect that we need to consider, especially when analyzing the strategic motivations behind the authorities' action in Xinjiang. And my next question is, what are the implications of China's focus on maintaining a strategic barrier in the occupied East Turkestan for its relations with neighboring countries?
East Turkestan is culturally, religiously, and racially not distinct than Central Asia. People are the same people, very similar actually, and the majority of them are Muslims, like people in Middle East. China has established very good relationship with authorities of the Central Asian countries and the Middle East countries through its New Silk Road project. this does not mean population of those countries also have good relationship with the Chinese government, because population are the brothers and sisters of East Turkestan, and China doesn't like that. China do not want to see any similarity of East Turkestanian to these countries and to these people, I think. So China can hide its colonialism and tell the world that, look, this region is the part of China, inseparable part of China. And they're saying right now, but we don't look like them. The region itself proved that we are not part of China. So they can tell the world that this place is not East Turkestan, nothing similar to Middle East or Central Asia or West Asia. There is nothing like a Turkic people. They are all Chinese, because they want to turn everyone in this region, transform it into Chinese, and they want to tell the world, look, these people are Chinese, region is belong to China, there's nothing to do with West Asia or Central Asia. So basically, China want to rewrite the history of East Turkestan.
Thank you so much. Move on to the next question. What are the specific measures the Shin Jang committee plans to implement to enhance social stability and security in the occupied East Turkestan? Thank you.
Until today, all genocidal policies, tools they have used it under the banner of social stability and the security is well known for everyone, to the whole world, actually. Those are including strict surveillance and the monitoring each Uyghur individuals and each East Turkestanian people in East Turkestan, and arbitrary detention for re-education camps, imprisonment and execution, and tearing apart families and sending large scale of Uyghur women to inland China cities for forced labor, and removing more than 900,000 children from their family to children's camps. So what kind of measurement they need again? I can't imagine what they could think of again, what kind of ridiculous policies or measurement they can think of again. But I think they want to continue and more intensify these policies under the different name, because every possible ridiculous measurement they have been tried on Uyghurs, except mass shooting and the killing all of the Uyghurs, were tried and done over there. So what they're gonna do? They're gonna kill the rest of the Uyghurs? I can't imagine this.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Rukia Tudush. Your insights into these measures provide a clear picture of the situation. Okay, my next question is, how do the ongoing genocide in the occupied East Turkestan contrast with the Chinese government's narrative of countering terrorism and extremism? Thank you.
This is again ridiculous excuse, because there is no terrorism and religious extremism exist in East Turkestan, and even it exists, detaining entire population, targeting entire population as on terrorism and as on religious extremism it's unbelievable. It's very ridiculous. The Chinese government did that and detained 1 to 3 million Uyghur population in re-education camps and sent the millions of them to forced labor camp. So how China ridiculously can say it again, okay, we are doing this and intensifying security here against the terrorism and the religious extremism. Look at today's East Turkestan. People cannot say each other salam alaikum even. They forcing them to eat pork and they bring the Han Chinese families to sleep over Uyghurs and eating their food. The Han Chinese families bring their food with pork, not halal food, force Uyghurs to eat. And the Uyghurs cannot practice religion. They cannot say basic Islamic greetings to each other, say salam alaikum. How there could be the religious extremism? So what China said is very, very ridiculous excuse. And behind this ridiculous excuse, something dangerous, something that we can't imagine. I don't think this is what they are saying.
Yeah, your explanation really brings out the stark differences between the official narratives and what's happening on the ground. And my next question will be, what impact do the proposed economic developments, such as oil and gas exploration, have on the local communities in the occupied East Turkestan?
Yeah, I think China's ruling Communist Party recently made a statement in their recent plenary session about intensified developing gas and oil and other energy resources of East Turkestan. I think this is not new too. I think China would like to drain up the natural resources of East Turkestan by accelerating the exploitation of natural resources under the name of development. I can see several messages from this because, first of all this cannot bring any benefit for East Turkestanian people. Natural resources of East Turkestan exploited until today by the Chinese government, and this bring only the benefit for the Chinese government, Chinese Communist Party, and Han Chinese settler colonialists. Never been used for local people. From now on, they will continue the same path, and nothing going to be changed. But I think they're going to use this more and more for their own benefit, and they prepare themselves for something. This could be, I'm worrying that this could be alarming message that China may rush to preparing for dangerous wars because they may use all of these natural resources that only for strengthening the Chinese economy and their military. They're doing that, but they may use more accelerating, more intensive ways. So it's going to be very dangerous. Also, under the name of clean energy, Chinese companies will build widely solar manufacturing company in East Turkestan by taking advantage of free coal energy of East Turkestan. And because the coal production of East Turkestan is the 40% of the whole China's coal production, right? So they exploit this coal production freely, because they colonized this place, and they're using millions of Uyghur forced laborers. Yeah. So in this way, they can easily dominate the world with the solar panel market in very cheap price.
Yeah, thank you so much for your explanation. And my final question will be, in what ways does the Chinese government's approach to governance in the occupied East Turkestan reflect broader national security concerns amid rising tensions with the United States?
Even though China did not publish clear security strategy, their national security strategy, I think, mainly focus in two factors. First is to maintain monolithic political order with a single power source. In today's China, that single authority, that single power is a CCP. Second is to always raise capability to remove or disposition of their potential challenges, or in other words, remove the potential enemy sources that they can view as an enemy, particularly they always see in the people in East Turkestan and Tibet as an enemy. And this view also can include that distant major powers like the United States, because they believe United States is the major obstacle for their ambition to control the world. So we can see that Western countries led by United States that promote democratic world is major obstacle for CCP's 2050 China dream based on their Tianxia ideology. So China knows very well that Uyghurs can be potential ally of US. That creates for them fear. They fear of them, fear of us and the United States, and they want to get rid of East Turkestanian people as fast as possible from this world. Besides, East Turkestan's significant geostrategic location and the position and the rich natural resources become most important wartime resources for China and the base for military supplies such as energy, armor, and guns and foods and more, even Uyghur slave soldiers that can China train it from the Uyghur children. These all become the wartime resources in East Turkestan. So it's just geostrategic location is very important for China too. We are important for the East Turkestan. Important for the US too. That's why China is seen as an enemy. I can see this really connection in here.
Thank you so much for your thoughtful response to this deeply troubling issue. You provided clear and powerful comparison between the government's narrative and harsh reality on the ground, which is crucial for our listeners to understand. As we come to the end of today's episode, I want to express my deep gratitude to you for sharing such valuable insights and helping us navigate these complex and sensitive topics. And also for our listeners, it's important to stay informed and critically examine the narratives we've presented with. Thank you for joining us today. Until next time, stay engaged, stay informed, and continue to seek the truth. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for you as well.